I've been having 16 candles in my head, like so big time, little bitty 80s movie lines popping up in my head the past past few days. Hi, how's everybody doing? It is October 4th, 2024, and I wanted to come on really quick and talk about these X flares that we just had. We had, I believe it was recorded now. People are saying, because you know how they go up and down, 7.2 on the solar annual eclipse, where we had everything on top of it. Ended up moving to 10 degrees of Libra when it finally aligned. Whenever I would look ahead at astro, it looked like it was going to land, the new moon was going to land on 9 degrees. It ended up landing on 10. So we had that X flare on the 2nd, and then we had the X flare yesterday on the 3rd, this 9.1. And Norma Jean sent me this really cool. Well, I forget what they call that. It's just a different picture from Lasco that I'm fixing to show y'all because I want to. This is what I want to talk about on here: the shoulders and the rings. What was going on when that blew, when that 9.1 blew, and that 9.1 all links up to the reservation clearing in Florida on Seminole land, not only clearing what we did in March in Florida, all up and down Florida, and the Hard Rock Hotel unit, the Hard Rock Hotel conglomerate that has become Hard Rock, because they bought the Mirage and now they're building Hard Rocks like all over the world. That system and the Hard Rock and the casino system was what was bound into all of your ancient Indian burial grounds, especially in the South. Now, when you talk about, and it's so interesting, no one showed up over here yet. And I didn't think there would be a whole bunch that would be coming. Somebody just showed up. This is, I've been kind of interested to see who's coming into here to even hear this message because of how high, intelligent, and deeply rooted the information is. When you start talking about the giants inside the earth, when you start talking about the government and all the government whistleblowers that have come forward and have told about the giants that they have underground inside the earth, how they're bound, how they're in cryo, that's one perception of how it was being done. That is correct. It's only one dimensional perspective because in a governmental underground held captive timeline to a multidimensional being, then there would be an aspect of yourself that is tied into one of those giants. Whether you're the giant, you became the giant, you took over for the giant in the ethers consciously to help with that collective, or if you aren't aware at all, but just know that your DNA was attached to one of these giants. The core of the planet, and this is that hollow earth thing. Now I want to remind y'all that what I'm talking about is the shift from these two realities, because that's what we're doing right now. We were in a simulation. Those like me and some of you are the beings that were holding the simulation. We were the simulation. And our etheric bodies were tied, twisted, run into each other, birthing in and over each other. I mean, all types of craziness out there, because none of it was being managed. None of it. It was just a natural process. It was way, 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 way out there. You know, the human can only go so far into whatever this is in order to manipulate it. The energy is going to go way, 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 way further out. That cylinder, if you the hollow earth, so if you've seen those drawings of the hollow earth, and it looks like a big contact lens, kind of, right? And then the sun's coming down this way, okay, right? And then all the roots are in this way, okay, and the dome was on top, basically. So now, inside, what this did on the inside of the planet is create a toroidal field, which is what Taurus is. Taurus is a toroidal field. This is also why, if you have earth codes, all of us down here are going to print earth wherever we go. It's why when you get to a certain level of purification, that they will try to take you off planet so that you'll bring earth to them. Because your energy creates this toroidal field connection that's actually in the center of what you'd call the planet. This is why you can't fly over Antarctica. This goes back to Admiral Byrd stuff. I mean, especially whenever you're talking to me, then somewhere in my weird world and connected into the DNA lines of the feminine and all of that, it had a bird connection for sure. BYRD. Something even about when he went into what you'd call Shambhala, inner earth, because I mean, as you ascend down into these different dimensions of this toroidal field, is where then this is where all the druid stuff is laid in the DNA. The tree means this and it's marked this. The cross means this and it's marked this. You know, turn right at the arrow. You know, all this is the powers that we're now wielding in the human subconscious, and for the first time, because why? We broke this circle right here yesterday. There were 3 of us that came together, and I won't mention names because I didn't ask, but that was all the groups of people that have just come in, of course, and gotten charts, and because it's how it works. We just all come together when we need to. But there were 3 of us on the phone yesterday, and this is where different surgeries that have come up over you and your family lines, especially over the past 10 years, okay? Because anyway, it was attached to shoulders. If you want to think about big, huge etheric beings, okay? Big, huge etheric giants that have come to save the human race, okay? Because it's what it was. Way back then, that's why this was set up. So at this top dimension, what it was a being. They go all the way down. You could picture like a tall white, but it's not a white. But if you wanted to, you could. And the left shoulder is all their left shoulders are chained, attached to this orb right here that was holding this toroidal field. Now, remember, I'm talking about etheric bodies, but when we're talking about etheric bodies, we're talking about constellations. We're talking about the human energy as far as it went out in the cosmos. I mean, with your DNA set, this is why they wanted your DNA. This is why they're fucking with the DNA, because when you fuck with DNA, you fuck with the cosmos. Now, these shoulder beings, okay, what we were starting to realize with how it went yesterday, because we just unlocked this, we just cut this. So now these beings are all kind of coming off this ring, and they need to go whichever, they need to vibrate to wherever they need to vibrate, but they're no longer holding this circle. The other thing was, what the day before on the 2nd, I called in, it was all of a sudden from Lyra. I was seeing this is Lyra 3, this is Capricorn, this is Lyra 3, and this is Lyra 1. And I was sitting there, and I was all of a sudden, I was like, wait a minute, we just need to mirror what's going on down here up here. Because in Lyra, it wasn't closed off at the top. This is how they were shooting. This is how they were even coming in. And nothing was moving. Everything was standing still. But all of a sudden I was sitting there and I noticed, oh shit. Okay, and I commanded Lyra 3 and Lyra 1 to connect overhead and replicate everything above that was below. So what happened on the 2nd, and I couldn't believe it. I didn't even notice it. Dawn did. That command was made at 5:55 on the 2nd. And that is literally almost exactly when this X flare went off. Not an M flare, an X flare. M's a different category. M would go off in here. X flare is whenever this type stuff is happening. Okay, so this is what happened on the 2nd. Now, please follow me. This little circle right here of shouldered beings, okay, started out a long time ago with intention and mummification and burial processes and how we were burying, and then what processes were being done on different people in death, okay, which brings us to the oceans. The oceans, and what's that other word? God, I can't remember. I call them ocean. Hold on, because I just had it pulled up. I hope it didn't freeze. The oceans and the other word. I can't remember the other word. This is the processing of especially female bodies. Now, I wasn't raised in this energy, so I didn't understand which is why I don't know all the words to all the names and all the entities and the deities, but it's basically like a goddess making machine. I wasn't aware of the ritualistic process that this is Indians, both from India and Indians, Native Americans, Aborigines, Nigeria is where some of this was started. I wasn't aware of this until 2021, when my weird ass JM handler that was MJ12 in my ass told me that sent me a message and said, I'm gonna make a great ocean, and that they were binding up my powers then, when he wrote me. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, because I didn't know what that was. I didn't even know what oceans were. I know oceans, OSHUNS. you know, my spiritual journey all started at once, 2017. I was off to the races. That's why I don't know all these weird, like, in between words of communities and what people have named stuff and this and this and this. My Akashic library, you know, is so old with this stuff, and so many new words have been made up. So the ocean, that's how you spell it, is looks like YouTube. Exactly. Orisha. That's the name I'm looking for. Orishas. Orisha with love, sexuality, fertility, femininity, water, destiny, divination, purity, and beauty, and the O Sun River. The O Sun. The O Sun. The O Sun River. And what are we dealing with right now? The moon. Holy crap. Oh my god. I'm tripping out. Y'all, are we making the moon? See, and I knew Amun Ra. Basically, on the second and the third, in a weird way, a moon and a tune had a showdown. Amun Ra, which was the entity made, and that's accounting, financial, all the financial and accounting system, even technology. Oracle databases are mimicked Mayan astrology holder cells. The database cells that are in your databases are only there because of the underground cells of Mayan astrology. Literally. And the geography and the sedation. That's how they hold. That's how a database even holds, because of basically death environments inside the physics of the earth with humans on it. Live humans, not dead simulation humans. That's totally different. So what they were doing was this whole moon thing and this whole thing that us as a collective. Now, y'all hear me? Us as a collective blame the Illuminati. We blame the cabal. We blame all these, whatever the freak entities that we think are the ones that are doing this. But what we're proving as we're fixing it is that most of the time that is not the case. Those organizations might be using the powers of some stuff that the collectives are continuing to do old ritualistic crap that is giving them the power to do it. So this whole ocean and making orishas and how these elder paternal organizations were doing all of these necromancy binding death rituals. I don't care what your reason for doing for it was. What you were doing was binding every single woman in your collective that's in the under and that's in the nether in order to give you all of their power. Okay, well, that's fine when we were dead. We're not dead anymore. We're alive. In order to get out of this, we had to embody the whole thing and then cut one of us yesterday from this, uncoil this whole thing. And that's what caused that 9X flare. And we did have reportings of flash. We did have reportings of a flash event. It's a blink of an eye, and you won't even witness the flash unless your third eye and your etheric body is connected into what the hell I was just talking about. Now, this also is why we had to change the blood, because, and this is also what proves us all to be divine, because it's what we're doing now. Realize that the ABO blood was made to never get out of what I started drawing here. ABO blood was made in order to build this construct with us that we call Earth, and with us in it, so that we could control it when all of this came to connect. And every single ritual that's done down here, that these group, I mean, and this is like everything. This is even like Flag Day and Columbus Day and Labor Day and Halloween, and those would be considered ritualistic spells. And whenever they circle that whole casket thing up in and wearing white robes, whenever, I mean, I don't care what it is, birthday parties even, not just what you would consider rituals, right? Because the when you're unconscious and you just go along with it, then intentionally your intention is taken away if you don't think through why you're doing it. And this isn't anything. We didn't know why we were doing anything. We just doing it because it's set to do it. It's tradition. Now, I want to flip a little bit back to, now I'm going to flip just a second. I don't want to, like, oh, I just showed y'all my passcode. Great. Oh, Lord. Exactly. I want to flip because a lot of y'all are getting I've gotten some messages, and you're starting to open up your abilities and your powers. Some of your powers and abilities are starting to come in. You're starting to have dreams that are showing you, like, you're smelling things, you're seeing things that are giving you more information to either what has just happened in your life or what's about to happen. And also just your etheric bite. Like right now we're having to, from an etheric perspective, it's like you're mirroring to your higher self and then bridging it together right now, and it held. It's like that energy came in and it held in order to create this double, and then it's going to go this way even, because this will spin. But coming out of a simulation, it's like this just needed to line up at a macro level, so that, and this is what we've been doing for 7 years, is preparing all of this to land on top of this, so that these energies that are coming up through here can finally connect and then uncoil from the 33 timeline. See, this is the part that the next 7 years, the entire human race is going to be uncoiling from Masonic 33 timelines. They're literally getting blown out of it, because there's nothing that's coring it and pulling it down anymore. There's nothing inside the planet like a G core that's pulling it down anymore. So it's like as everyone starts expanding, there's nothing holding it. It has to unravel, and when that happens, we call those tower moments and whatever, across the board down here in 3D. But that's because you're unwinding from a 33 timeline. You're unwinding from a 33 machine. You're unwinding from a human harvesting machine. I'm just going to add a pause. I didn't know exactly what all I was going to be talking about on this video. This is directly linked to March. This is Caesar's warning. This right now, what's happening right now in 2024, the children of 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 Caesar's message, beware of the Ides of March, is what is transpiring in human history right now. This, what we're doing as a collective right now, is what Caesar was warned about when he killed and ordered and went along with the masses to save Barnabas and take Joshua. Because Barnabas was Joshua at that point was the pineal gland on the planet. No matter how you want to surf it, say it was real, say it wasn't real, whatever. But in that story, Joshua would be the pineal gland. He would have all the parts to be able to connect into these various dimensions to pull off creation in a lower dimension. They killed all they and this wasn't just those lines. This is why that line became so powerful. It didn't start out as powerful it was until they were crucifying thousands of people before they even got to Joshua. They couldn't even kill him until they did those ceremonies to everybody else. Now, why are we talking about this? Because it's your it's grid system down here. If you had a family, if you are in a DNA bloodline that had somebody that was crucified, that had somebody that was killed by the Catholic Church and set on fire, that was crushed, that was pulled apart, that was quartered, that was hung, that was whatever, head cut off, whatever. It's what was made available in this reality, and why you did everything you did to clear everything was to be able to jump that death, because it would have been all set to happen again in some way if we wouldn't have changed the blood. Now our blood isn't tuned to up here, and it isn't tuned to up here. It's tuned to right in the freaking middle, and nothing that they can do down here ritualistically, technically, with a ray, with a beam, with nothing can change anything. And nothing that they do up here can change anything. Those two have already met in a space and time and made something new, whether they know it or not. Because why? We changed 4 years. We changed 4 years. The last 4 years of our lives and the connections that we made were to be able to connect in the coming 4 years from 2024 to 2028. If we wouldn't have pulled off what we pulled off, then we all have a really good idea of what was going to happen to the collective from 2024 to 2028. They're rolling the film now. What happened in Nashville? What's going on with the lithium batteries? I'm sorry, they want everybody dead right there with the lithium. But see, the lithium, they didn't charge it. They didn't make nothing go off. That's just the combustion of human energy. That's this baby lining up. There ain't the HAARP didn't do it. No, cosmic energy that's coming down into these grids with a whole entire grid system that's set in order to retract it, spin it. When that energy comes in and everything's flowing and connecting, then it's gonna, if there's lithium all in the, but then again, that is where they accidentally dropped the nuclear bomb, and North Carolina and South Carolina have been a part of my story. They've just been these weird little links in between. Well, that basically, Asheville, you had a mini nuclear explosion. But if we wouldn't have been as a collective connecting all this, and we wouldn't have been able to even make it just because at least it just happened there. At least it's isolated. They did find those pieces of the Dragon. They found pieces of the NASA Dragon ship. that fell out of the sky in Asheville, and two different farms with two different farmers found two different pieces of the dragon. I can't remember, it was the day or the day before. It was right before the storm hit, right before the hurricane hit, like a magnet. It drew it right there. That's because wherever that was being held up here in space, when that fell, then that convergence and energy is going to happen down here, and it's basically going to, like, it's got to terraform. They're not smart enough to plan that. This is the main thing that you learn when you come through this, and this is also the part that is a little scary. And this is, it's 11:33. This is a part that's a little scary as a being down here, because you're like, holy crap, like I have that much power. No, that and then as your powers start opening up and you start seeing more stuff, it gets a little, I mean, we've hidden ourselves for so long, and these lines weren't connected for so long within our telepathy. They were there, they were connected, but it was way far out. It wasn't, we weren't pulling it all back together like we are right now. So all of your abilities are coming together. Not just, you won't just have sight, you won't just have, like, this is where all the C's are one thing. All of your powers and gifts are coming from one source, because it's in one energetic. You don't just have sight. You aren't just precog. You don't just, but when those start changing, whenever those gifts start changing, because you're getting all of it now and you've only been getting a piece of it, it gets a little scary. You want to say, no, that wasn't, whenever you know that you caused a X flare, it's normal. It's normal. I mean, it's like, wait a minute. I mean, now, of course, we did it with the entire human race, but that's the point. The point is that there isn't anybody else down here in the entire human race but us three that needed to come in and unbind something that was bound probably recently, is what I'm getting right now. Recently, from what we'd consider our opposing side, but since we had cleared the masculine, leveled up everything, we were playing the roles of the masculine in the hires, then it was three women who just undid whatever the F-balls three men did before in the sixth dimension. We just unbound something that was bound by three, and three powerful men. Three wielders of their Ocean lineages, like three different sets of factions, three different men made some agreement throughout this, which is what, now I'm talking, and I'm even talking about the Skull and Bones right now. I'm talking about how Skull and Bones was playing out in 2020, 2021, 2022, with the various accidents that people were having, the bones that were breaking, and surgeries that were happening in a wide open toroidal field that most people didn't realize, and you didn't realize that you were attached into an etheric body whenever they operated on you. And you didn't realize that whenever they did that operation on you, then it spun out the entire cosmos because of the timing that we were in and what was happening with the blood in another dimension, especially in 2020, 2021. That could have happened with you in 2010, 2011, because you were 10 years ahead, like it did with me. Same as me. Whenever I got hit with the car in 2007, and they spun my car in front of Bill Bank in Frisco, Texas, Trump's bank, they spun the sun when they spun me. And they in Texas, they ain't, then all, when they hit, now it wasn't just me that they hit. In another dimension, it was like a planet getting hit. It was like the sun getting hit. that energy unwound and made kind of like a little nuclear explosion of cosmic energy in Frisco, Texas. And they gated it and built a fucking new world over here. This is where Universal's coming here. Everything's going nuts over here now because but this is what Texas did, because Texas always had control of this birthing process, because according to Texas, Gaia was an asset and had no rights, and they could just do whatever the fuck they wanted with it. See, we've already witnessed as a collective, whenever you do that, what happens, because that's what we're seeing play out. But each one of us because realize that through the collective clearing process and the 7-year process, all of us in the collective, our spiritual collective right now, we're basically taking placements in from the feminine side. Those are the etheric bodies that each one of us were taking leadership of. This etheric body of what you'd call the oceans, or because we's all bound together to work together like that, but it's actually how it was originally made in order to keep our powers and our connections. Even why the Egyptian brothers and sisters were getting married. This is why we have so much sexual weird crap and mind fuckery with sex and brothers and sisters and moms and sons and daughters and dads, because of all of the fuckery that went on in the merging of DNA lines in order to produce dominant lines. And also to reserve the line. Because in original physics, then what happens is when we come through a procession like this, then we all take our leads here. And so this, in 2022, August 2022, Lionsgate, all of us were perfectly positioned. There were 50 million of us. Everybody was in a circle. Everybody was holding hands. All the collective was kind of dangling off of it like that in this full circle, and boom, lights out. Lights out. Now, that could have just been because this top part went away. It made a full, and then it went down. But there was a lot of manipulation that was going on. This is when I went raw. I went raw when this happened. Basically, when this line went out, it produced something new. And then these just vanished, because what we made new is merging the future and the past to the extent where these don't even exist anymore, because of the manipulation that went on to keep these here. So, Rebel Spirit saying we got to chat like that. Y'all, I wanted to come in here and say this because y'all are seeing pieces of this. You have been, and you're about to see more as these align. Right now, Mercury is, and this is on my sun. I'm going to show you on my chart again in a minute. Mercury is at 14 degrees. Mercury right now is on the balance in the middle of the scale. The sun, 11:55, that's 66. The sun is about to get on it in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, the sun is getting on the first scale. The moon is about to jump Venus. Venus, this is us. This is our ocean. This is our, whatever you want to call us, man. This is our freaking, this right here that I just described of all of us. When they took us out, it allowed us to reform. Every single time they did something, it allowed us to recreate it. When they took this ring out, it took 2 years for us to build our etheric body up to this bigger circle, because this was just like a projection down here. This one was already a bigger circle that was already formed and had been formed. But it took 2 years whenever they took this one out. But because they took this out, because it was natural and organic the way it was working, and because they fucked with it, then it all had to level up so that they couldn't take it out. Now, with Venus in this is in the collective degrees of working a giant spell for the collective, not for power. And you know what the spell is? Undo the damn spells. You know what Venus is doing right now? With the collective, the entire fucking collective is taking down every single thing in the matrix that makes you able to hide from it. Because every single thing that you have utilized in order to ignore, and I'm talking about to the human race right now. I'm talking to the masses. Everything that was utilized for give you the option to even ignore what is happening to your body, to your children, to your world, to your atmosphere, whatever it is, was all some Venetian manipulation to begin with. And we gave it to you. We let you be drunk. We let you use our energy to make alcohol and to put yourself in anesthesia. And I mean, from the energy that we're in, we gave you those abilities. We gave you concrete. We held the bubble that produced a bubble that allowed you to use anesthesia. We allowed the mafia to use chemical-based compounds in our energy using our ancient processes to give you numbing ability. Every single bit of that came from Venus in your feminine side. You abused it. You abused it to the point that then you want it, but you don't want a feminine in your life. This is what Venus is doing right now. Venus is taking back all her energy. And it's because, you know why? It's all going up here into this new strand. It just sucked out. We just made something new. Everything was replicated over here. You're living over here now. Your etheric body's over here. You're not down here. You're not over here. You ain't circling in the middle. You ain't on some weird sky ring that's going to orbit in a circle and keep you unconscious in a dream state so you can project down here and someone can write what you're going to do. No, this is the real thing. This is a real deal. You're coming out of a simulation, or you're not. Or you're not. Saturn retrograde at 14 degrees of Pisces, beaming straight over to him on the scale. It's like, did it weigh? Nope. Suck it back in. Did it weigh? Nope. Suck it back in. Did it weigh? Holy fuck. It blew up the scale. Take the whole orb, suck it into Saturn. Make it the fifth ring. Realize that all the spells and everything that they casted in order to come against the collective is what they now will have to live out. And in a million years, when they get to the fifth dimension, that is what they're going to have to fight and deal with in their world. That energy is going to be coiled up, but it ain't going to be in the energetic of what it is right now, because we're in this energy gate. We're still in it right now. You just pulled Christ and love and organics and feminine out of everything. That's you being an avatar. That's you being locked in a freaking battery cell. That's you being harnessed for energy in a prison cell. That's you being locked in prison. That's no flowers. That's a lab in space. There will be a version of that will play out opposite from the rest of us who know that we're building new and we've got it ready, and we know that more people are processing to come with us. Posses. Posses. Are you gonna go this way? Or are you gonna go this way? See, and in the wheel at the reset, you only had that option. You only had this way or this way. That's why it was the Passeian air. Thing is, whenever you go this way, then it basically circles you back around, and you're stuck kind of on the outside of the wheel. Like, and this is what, and then you'd have to come up, and then you'd have to get back in Cancer. But whenever you come back into the wheel, it's like it's I described it yesterday. It's more like a duck coming out of the water, but the water has oil on the top. So when the water, but you can't, but the oil's not in the water. It's laid on top of the water. So whenever the duck comes out, then he's got the oil on him. Or how they put all those different colors of paint and water, and then you stick your arm in it and it's got paint on it. That's whenever you're in the Piscean collective, which would be any of your spiritual DNA lines, any of them. I don't care what religion, spirit, whatever. If you're in the higher house energy and you're gonna go this way, right? Then you're either floating out here, which is why they did that Oshan stuff, or you're gonna come back in. You're gonna have to jump over to Capricorn, and you're gonna meet it's gonna come into Cancer, and then you've got a whole nother collective that's like a big duck with oil that's coming through here that meets a spark from Vega, because Vega beings don't have the ability like you do coming up out of Cancer in order to bring the collective body DNA with you in a collective body. In Vega, it's more like a needle, in Capricorn, in Vega in the middle to make those poles from Cancer to Capricorn. So this is even why this is the twins, because basically the collective mermaid, the collective amoeba, the body amoeba gets to like right here, and then this energy that's shooting in from Vega basically like picks it up, and then it pulls this DNA in. So I'm saying all that because this is filling up right now. I feel like the hollow planet and the core, and because that was even the ice in Antarctica was even just made. That was all made. It was all done on purpose. Like this hole is filling up. I don't know how. I'm not sure in what. I'm not sure on stages. I don't know. But this toroidal field that was holding everything in a gravitational pull in the earth, that was pushing everything out, which was what caused the crust and everything else. It's filling up. I think this is why we have people stuck on ISS right now. Now, Jupiter is, I've been saying Bellatrix wrong on here. And I've just caught myself a couple of weeks ago. It's dead on at 20. I've been saying 22. There's a reason I always do everything, but I get it confused with Spica. But Bellatrix is dead on at 20. So Jupiter is still on Bellatrix. Mars is outside of the mind. It's about to be in the soul. It's about to be in the soul of this collective that I'm just talking about. That comes in and hits that, and because basically us coming through here and pushing that orb is what set off the X's. is what I'm trying to show y'all. These two energies have come together and made one. But this is also these crazy twin stories that we've had, because this is also, you have to remember, and I was talking about this yesterday, from what you'd consider like the industry and opposition, even what you'd consider your, maybe some of our twins or shadow twins or karmics or whatever. You have to remember that their entire family lines were built on lies, fed to them as their story, to where they truly thought that they were you. And in a weird way, they are you, but you're the mirror version of it in the true form. For the first time that came in to oppose them. To the extent that this was a lost sixth root race. This is why this was such a battle. This is why this wasn't necessarily a competition. This is how they even ended up stealing it all from themselves and had to lie about it to begin with. Rewind that part. This is where the whole world needs to just realize that we are all connected. We all lead back to one. That different ones of us have different masteries at different levels. And at this point in time, the entire line was leveled up. So no matter where you thought, now this is on anything, and this is in any power, any source of what you'd consider has human power down here. Whoever you thought was the know all and be all, and whatever the human race said was the know all and be all, I can promise you that there's at least 3 above that person that have way more information that you don't know anything about. And I'll also just remind, this was when over here, when I'm talking for me, and what I know, that my group of beings that have been working with me throughout this, and the group that I led, was clearing the blood. And not just the blood of the human race. It's how the humans get their blood coming out of the cosmos, and the fact that the blood is tunable, that we forgot about. Okay. 5323. Besides that, personally, I've been feeling good. Besides that, personally, I'm just gonna, I don't know why I'm gonna show y'all this, because I've been feeling good. I was really super focused, because we're getting House of Kochi. We're gonna start uploading Scorpio and Sagittarius, and it's just so overwhelming. We have so, like, because each house has its own design, and not even designs, but we're mimicking the physics, and we're producing all these items that do create these energies in your house. And we're getting feedback on the Virgo Velveteen does work. It does work. Like, when you go shopping at House of Kochi, if you don't like what, you just like how it looks, but you don't like what the description says it's going to do, don't get it, because it is going to do what the description says. It's the first conscious brand, and we've got to do every single house because there's 12. So if you can only imagine, it's like doing 12 different collections at once, and that's what we're doing right now. And so I was so focused, and then we just got to the point where we got overwhelmed, and I had to take a break, and then everything flipped. I was doing more connections with you guys, and the ones who just came in and got activated. We've been working together in these higher rings, and pulling up more, and giving, and basically giving your powers back. Everybody's getting their powers back because it's safe now. It's safe now. But at the same time, that's all kind of moving around. So it's like my focus kind of went away for a minute, and I'm having to kind of reorganize my thoughts in a way. And even though I had such a firm plan before, and I know that even I'm going to use that plan when I sit down right now, this very instant today on October 4th, in order to put my mind together on that plan, it's like I'm having to recall it and kind of put it back together again. It's not just right there like it's been for the past 2 weeks. But that's because we just had this whole X flare. Everything went up into like 5 dimensions of 0 point. Everything went into 5 dimensions of 0 point. And the one last thing is, this is why this is such a big deal. My collective in the blood was dealing with Hunt for Red October, which we ended up being October. This was all about the blood. And 14 degrees, this is my chart. And this is also the October 7th chart for what you'd consider the Putin Russian clone batch, which you'd consider the most thoroughbred DNA down here in a 5th dimensional template, not a 3rd dimensional template connected to London, a 5th dimensional template that also includes entire super soldiers programming and all the hybridization. It's getting aligned to that template, not a 3rd dimensional template. This right here is literally the scales, and I'm just showing you this because as a collective, this is what we're wielding. It's all everything that's coming through the processing right now when it's getting weighed at 14 degrees of Libra on the scale, because there it is, there's 14. It's getting blasted to Aries at the Notice 2 position, which is the new body template, the 44 timelines. This would be the 33 timelines, beginning degrees of Libra. They merge up with the higher house Arcturus and then shoot over into Notice 2. And this is how, as a collective, we've been doing this for 50 years. However, I'm showing you right now, this is where the sun's about to approach. Mercury is on right now. Hi, Dawn. Okay. And this is that Cancer Capricorn lineup. I'm just showing you this to give you an idea, because it's going to go, everything, the sun and Mercury is still going to go through these higher house templates. Because this is where it goes up or it circles back down right here. So once it gets to 16 degrees, that's Hercules. And at Hercules, it's either going to go down and stay down, or it's going to go up and stay up. Or for the first time, you're going to connect down and up, and you're like Virgo walking through this. Holding it from here. I mean, even in a way, I'm even seeing and being shown just how the wheel works, because this wheel is your mind. How you react on these star energies in a grid system is how that energy manifests. And how the collective reacts and what they do on that energy and what they have done on that energy, that's what manifests. That's what built the program. So crazy. Like, I'm even seeing that even kind of the process that I'm talking about us focused and sending this ray for this long, all to notice too, without it connecting, could even form these ocean Orisha units, columns over time that then they ended up utilizing in order to connect it. But if this kept going over and kept going, it's like, okay, 10,000 years, boom, shoot a wad, there it is. Now move over here, shoot a wad. Now move over here, shoot a wad. Now move over here, shoot a wad. I mean, it would end up forming that, just in it running without anybody having consciousness as it's happening. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. That's what I forgot to write on here, because when I went over here and then I'm fixing to hang up, because I was like, I know we did two things. We pulled the shoulder off the rings, and then the other thing was we had never caught. I talk about the G, but we had never, from a higher consciousness, and we were just now yesterday to the point where we could command the G be set properly for the United States. And what I mean by that is because they were controlling. I mean, this is why the G is in the masonry. It's a G. That's a 7. Everything down here in architecture is built off C. A G then controlled a compass. Okay, so if Texas energy always had the oil, and Canada was always cold and had this and this and this and this, and this is even why Diddler and or Kanye named his kids Northwest and all that crazy ass crap. I mean, because this was west and this is east. Well, this is what they were spinning. And so we knew for a long time that they had Texas in Canada, and basically they were spinning Texas to spinning this back. Texas was up here. The oil was, when that wobble happened from here to here, the G was spinning the realm and anchoring it in higher houses. This is why the Dust Bowl. This is why the Great Depression. This is why it's going to rain places that it should and not, and where it shouldn't. This is why Egypt's getting snow and because it was anchored. Egypt, for example, was anchored way, way, way down here, but it was utilized way up here to control everything. So that has to balance without any type of human field below or above. Well, this last little thing that I felt, and I don't have even as much as I was involved in this, I still don't 100% know. Y'all might have more confirmation, but I'm pretty sure that they were trying, this had definitely become east and this definitely became west. I know that, but what I couldn't figure out is what they were trying to grid California down as, because it was almost like they were trying to make this the south and this the north and this the west and this the east, and they were trying to drive it deeper and deeper, which is what they did, which is why it ended up going into a black hole. So, and this is also why my whole journey, I was going back and forth between California and Texas. This is also how because I was in a sedation down here, I'd create something and I'd drive 24 hours and literally catch the energy that I created down here as it was rising up here in a big amoeba. That's how I did it. That's how I did it. But that's to the extent that California was held up 6 dimensions too high, in which you'd consider star manipulation space-time. So I mean, so California is like being held up like way up here, but then everything's gridded down in Texas, connected to South America, Panama Canal, all that stuff from that Cancer orb, all your Mexico pyramids, all the ones where you're. I mean, this is where that she's utilizing all that. So it's all this is coming up this way, but it's harnessed to California to where in Frisco, which was 0 point for all this, starting in 2012, where they hit with the car, they literally had a ramp of energetics that's in Frisco that's stealing from the sixth and the eighth dimension. And mind you, that in Texas, it's where your Masonic financial infrastructure is because of the Alamo and everything else that's run underneath it and how the energy comes up through the core. So Texas is your matrix financial system command center for the entire United States, which is basically your human harvesting processing machine for the United States and to the core. So what we ordered yesterday at the same time, so both of these combined were for this G to get reset properly in the United States. Like however it's supposed to be set. I don't know which way it should be set, but however it needs to be set in order to connect right here, in order to expand this, is where it's where it changed when that 9 went off. So it really is like we like jumped. It's like there's a whole nother orb that's up here, but it's got a chute that goes out. It's like our time flashed. We like flashed from here to here. Still holding a connection to here. But now it's having to kind of open up, and this is even the energy of your pituitary gland in your head. I also misspoke on one of the last videos when I was talking about the pineal gland reactivating. When I went back and listened to it, I was like, oh shit, no, it wasn't the pineal that got rebirthed, it was the pituitary gland that got rebirthed. It's a pituitary setting, a hormone setting that changed, and the pituitary frequency is what Giza sets. And that took place 2018. All right. Love y'all. I'll be back. That's what's going on.